Hi, my name is James White and I'm the UK's leading prospect conversion expert. As you probably know by now, I've created a 12-stage model on how sales success is really similar to dating. And in this video, I'm going to talk about stage 4 in the process, about how you can build initial rapport and attraction with your prospects in order to get the business in the right place to hopefully work with them in the future. Let's take a look at the video and share some of the thoughts on 10 things you can do to get those successful meetings in place. The first thing I say about this is, I say to a lot of people when I work with them, when you're doing prospecting, initially it's very difficult to actually close the business initially with a prospect from the first meeting. Most prospects probably won't buy from you straight away. It's not always the case. We know as humans, sometimes things happen as a spark happens and you can go and have fun that same evening. But invariably, when you meet someone, you've got to be in a position to have a few more dates and time with them before you're going to build that special relationship. So the key thing for me is in sales, what are the things that we can do when we're engaging with a new prospect for the first time that can get us the results that we want? Let's take a look. First thing is, I always say to prospects, confirm with the prospect beforehand. If you're going to meet someone next Friday at 3 p.m, try and confirm with them maybe a day before, just checking we're good to meet at that time. It shows you're respectful of their time, but also it shows you're respectful of your own time. You've got self-confidence and you're not just hoping and expecting that they're going to work with you at that time. Confirm beforehand through a text or an email. It's going to make you look professional. Secondly, is do some research on them before you get there. And again, I'm not trying to be creepy here and be in a position where you've looked at everything they've done and what you know ins and outs of them as a person, but maybe just know, oh, I've read on your LinkedIn profile that you worked previously at such and such a company. How was that? Or you're in a position where you might say, oh, I've read on your Twitter profile that you support this team, or you've got a dog or a cat. Tell me more about that. The point is, if you've done some research about them, it shows to the prospect that you're interested in them. And again, when we think about this from a sales and dating perspective, if you go and meet with someone and you've actually found out a little bit more about them, you've shown interest in them, it helps build that initial rapport. Third thing is, don't be late. Now, don't get me wrong, it sometimes happens. I've been late sometimes for prospect meetings and it's just been a disaster with traffic or whatever else. But if you can afford not to be, don't be late. Don't obviously be there too early either, because that's going to be a waste of your time, but try not to be an hour late or 15 minutes late if you can. And if you are going to be late, phone and let them know. Give them the courtesy of saying, hey, I'm really sorry, but something's happened and I'm going to be late. If you're late, it doesn't send a good impression to the prospect that you really care about them and their time. And think about it from if you were dating, if someone didn't turn up for half hour on that first date, how would you feel? Would you really be inclined to go and have a second date with them? Probably not. It may put, they'd have to work hard to reconvince you that they're right. So the same applies when it comes to sales. Point number 4 is look and smell good. When we go and meet someone for the first time, we want to look our best. We want to feel like our best, because when we look and feel like our best, we feel confident and ready to engage. So put on that nice shirt, that suit, or that smart fleece that you use if you're a tradesperson working with someone. Don't go in there looking like you've come from a bush dragged backwards in. Feel good about the way you look and how you smell. If you've been in a position where you've just had a curry and 4 fags and 2 pints for lunch, the chances are you're not going to smell great when you engage with your prospect. Think about that. People make impressions on the way you look and the way you smell, and that's a big factor when it comes to them building an initial impression on you. Which comes on to our next point. How can you build that strong initial impression? People make judgments on you as a person generally within the first 5 to 7 seconds, and they spend the rest of the time then convincing themselves about whether their initial reaction was right or not. So how can you build an initial strong impression? Smile, engage with them, look in the eyes, smile and shake them by the hand. Be in a position where you're really warm and feel like you're approachable to them. It's going to make someone feel like you actually want to be with them, and maybe then start off by asking, having a conversation around, how have they taken long to get here, or have they had a good trip here, or have they had a good day so far? Whatever it is that you can use to build that initial engagement. Show yourself to be warm, approachable, engaging, and it's going to help the prospect build a great sense of who you are as a person. Point number 6, this is so important when it comes to sales and prospecting. And I use this analogy a lot really when it comes to dating. If you went into a bar and you sat down with someone and for the first 25 minutes they talked about just themselves, what would you think? You'd probably think, I can't wait to get out of this building. And the same is when it comes to prospects. This meeting is not about you, it's about your prospect understanding your prospect and getting to know them and who they are and understanding their problems, their wants and their desires. It's about being able to listen to them, and you should be talking for only 30% of the time. The prospect should really be talking for 70% of the time. If we ask the right questions and really start to show interest in the prospect, that can be the case, and we'll find out a lot, and we'll be able to understand at the end of that if it's worth us pursuing the next stage. But hopefully we've shown the prospect that we're not just interested in ourselves, but we're really interested in them. Number 7, take notes in a nice looking book with a good pen. The amount of times I've had tradespeople come to my house, or people come to do work with me, and they've pulled out a jotter pad and a bit that's looked like the dog's chewed it. And it's made me think, if you're that professional when it comes to wanting my business, what are you going to be like when I've given you my money and what you to deliver? Little things make a difference. Get a nice notepad with a nice pen, you look good, you're writing things down, you're taking notes, so that you can really show that you're listening with intent to that prospect. And again, in a dating sense, you wouldn't get your book out and write notes down, but you certainly want to be in a position where you start to remember key things about the person. Because trust me, I've been on dates when someone has said to me, do you remember this? I told you this, and I hadn't, and I make myself look stupid. If you can remember things about the prospect by writing them down, it's going to help them show that you really care about them and are interested in helping them and serving them, which is key when it comes to a sales success. Number 8, talk about you at the right time. I've met lots of people in a business perspective, and the first thing they do when they come in to see me is they want to present my business card and a brochure and a whole lot of stuff around them. Now, don't get me wrong, you need that material, you need that information, but you have to choose the right time to bring that information out. And the right time is not just when you've sat down and said to people, here's a lot of stuff about me. It makes you look self-focused and self-obsessed, and prospects don't like that. In the same way when we're dating, you wouldn't want to be in a position where you start, when you met someone, to start talking about everything about you and your job and your life and what you've done. Talk to them about them first, build that relationship. Use that information at the right time. Get a brochure out at the end of the session, or if they ask questions a bit more about you and you want to explain it, but don't just make that the first point of thing for you to do. Number 9, summarize the discussion. At the end of a date, I remember when I met my wife for the first time, and I remember thinking, we've really got on well here. I hope that she's thought the same thing. But actually, I texted her afterwards and she had. But the question is, I actually said to her, at the end of the date, it would be great to go on a second date with you. I've really enjoyed the session, the date with you. Would you be happy to do that? And she said, yeah, I would be. So actually, I've summarised the discussion and I've now got to the second date. The key thing is for your prospects is to be able to summarise your conversation with them. Did the meeting go as well as you hoped? I spoke to a lot of people who think that conversation went really well, but when they really then think about it and then try to arrange a follow-up conversation, it doesn't happen. Do your prospects really think it's gone in the same way? So be honest and summarise the discussion. Look, we've had a great session today, so-and-so, and I'd really love to be able to chance to talk to you again and see if we can really work together and show you what we can do. Can we get that arranged? If a prospect doesn't want to get it arranged, they don't feel it's a good fit, they might tell you that. But you won't know unless you summarise the discussion and clarify what you've heard. If you do that and you've listened intently, the chances are you've got more chance of moving on to the next session than not. And the final point is this: follow up soon afterwards. I remember when I met my wife, I remember texting her within an hour and saying it was lovely to meet you and I really enjoyed that session and look forward to the second date. Now, ironically enough, she didn't get back to me for about 5 or 6 hours, but that was her prerogative, and I talk with her and joke with her now. That was her way of basically making me wait a bit. But the key thing is, once you've had the meeting with a prospect, follow up. Thanks ever so much for our session. Really enjoyed it. I've clarified these points, and this is what we're going to do going forward. Indicate that and put yourself in a position where you know what the next stage is going to happen, and it's going to put you in a much better position to not just build initial rapport and attraction, but put yourself in a great position to do and work with that client going, or that prospect moving forward. So there are my 10 steps to think about when it comes to engaging with a prospect. And hopefully you can see, if that was dating, yes, you wouldn't necessarily get the book out, but you'd hopefully take the similar approach than what you would do on a sales basis. And it's key in that first meeting that we don't try and make the sale happen, but we follow our sales process and work about how we move to the next stage. And if it turns out that at the end of that meeting it's not to be, so what? That happens. It's better to be in a position where we do that now than to chase something that's never going to turn into a business opportunity. So there are my 10 points that I hope are going to help you, but have you learned other things that have helped you when you engage your prospects for the first time? Let me know where they are in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's worked for you. But I believe if you follow these activities when you engage with a prospect for the first time, it's going to help you get the business move forward, and it's going to help build the right, strong initial rapport and attraction to get you in a great place with your prospects. I'm James White. I'm the UK's leading prospect conversion expert. Thanks for watching the video. I look forward to sharing more video thoughts with you really soon.